Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our last Ask Kira live studio session of the semester. My name's Joan. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm a student recruitment officer at Memorial University. With us today, we have Roxanne Mchugh and Morgan Carley from the Faculty of Education who are here to answer all your questions about their undergraduate programs. But before we get started, I just have a couple of housekeeping items to go over. So this session is being recorded. If you're participating, you're consenting to that. Your mics are muted and your video is turned off. So you're only going to be able to see our panelists that are joining us here today. And that's just to help keep our bandwidth down, reduce that, and make sure we keep your privacy in mind as well. But you are here with other attendees, and we do want to make sure that you get all of your questions answered. So to submit questions today, we're going to be using the Q&A to all panelists feature that's housed within the WebEx platform. It's the main reason we're here today, so be sure to get those in and submit it. Today's focus, of course, is the Faculty of Education. So we're going to try and keep our questions related to them. And if you do have a question that we don't get to, don't worry, you'll either get a direct message in the chat that is in WebEx or follow up with us in an email after the session. So to get us started, I'm going to ask if each of you could tell me a little bit about yourselves and your roles within the Faculty of Education. Roxanne, you're the first here on my screen, so let's get started with you.
Hi, I'm Roxanne Mchugh, and I am the Undergraduate Admissions Officer with the Faculty of Education. So my job is to assist students with applying to the faculty, any questions they have, and provide guidance and support prior to admission in terms of course selection and meeting admission requirements to all of our programs. We do offer a number of programs, and all programs, have different admission requirements. So if you have any questions or need guidance on admission to the Faculty of Education, by all means, reach out to me or our staff within the admissions department.
Great, thanks for joining us, Roxanne. And Morgan, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, so my name is Morgan Carley. I recently graduated from the Faculty of Education. I finished in August, so I did a Bachelor of Education in Intermediate Secondary, and I am a French teacher, so I went through the process of applying and doing the French as my teachable, math as my second teachable. So like I said, I recently graduated. I finished that program at Memorial in August, and I started working in September. So I'm a recent grad, so I can answer questions about kind of what my courses were like, any questions that you had about student life there, or if you had questions about how it was to get a job, how I find teaching as a profession, I'd be more than happy to answer those. As I said, I started working in September right away, so that was fabulous. I was really happy. I'm actually in my classroom now, so I'm happy to answer any questions that I can help with.
Awesome. So to get us started, just a reminder, folks, we're using the WebEx platform Q&A to all panelists feature. There's a couple of different features you can pick from there, but that's the one we want you to use so we can all see your questions and make sure they get answered. The first thing I'm going to start us off with, first question I'll ask, is what degree program options you have for students to pick from within the Faculty of Education, Roxanne. And would you be able to weigh in on that one for me?
Sure. We offer two degrees in primary elementary teaching. So that's teaching grades K to 6. We offer it as a first degree, and we also offer it as a second degree. We offer an intermediate secondary degree program. It's available in 2 options as well, and that will enable an individual to teach grades 7 to 12. We also offer a music education degree. So any student that has a music background, a music education degree, that may be of interest. And we also offer it's a second degree in education, which is a Bachelor of Special Education. So once you receive your education degree, if you wish to continue on and specialize in special education, then that's an option for you as well. And lastly, we also offer an education program for adult teaching. So if a student is looking to teach adults at a college level or whatnot, we also offer an education degree in that particular area as well.
Great. So sounds like there's certainly a lot of options for students to pick from. Next question's for Morgan. A student's wondering, what was the biggest challenge you faced within your program, and how'd you manage to overcome it?
So, in my opinion, the Faculty of Education is really understanding and they're really adaptable and they really hear you out when you're having challenges. So if you are having difficulties or challenges throughout your program, I would suggest to approach your professor, your teacher, your lab instructor, whatever it is that you have for your course, and really be verbal about that because they were so accommodating to us when we went through. It was really like a family, like they wanted to see you succeed. I would say the biggest challenge is probably balancing all of the work that there is to do because there are quite a few courses you have to do. And with us, we found that they were, you have a lot of work to do for them and it's a lot of group work. So you have to be organized and you have to be mindful of deadlines. But if you are having difficulties, I would suggest to approach a professor or teacher. Everyone in the faculty was more than accommodating to our group when we went through. I have nothing negative to say about anyone in the faculty who has taught me. It was a wonderful experience and everyone was very helpful.
Great. So sounding like being your own advocate and reaching out for that support if you need it is a super important piece of the puzzle for success. Hey. Awesome. Our next question is coming from a student that wants to do primary elementary as a first degree. They're not sure where to go to be sure they're taking the right courses. Roxanne, could you weigh in on this one?
Okay, so if you are a student fresh coming into the university from high school, the Academic Advising Center is set up for students to assist students within their first year or two. However, the Faculty of Education would also assist any student, if they wish to reach out to us directly as well. And that would be, you can contact the email address, which would be admissions or edadmiss, EDADMISS @mun.ca. So any questions you have, you can reach out to that email address and, we would certainly sometimes set up an appointment with you to help go over your scheduling and that sort of thing. So, or we can set up a WebEx meeting as well. But that's your first connect would be Academic Advising Center. And I think their advice @mon.ca or the Faculty of Education directly at the edadmiss email address.
Great. Awesome. Next up, a student's wondering, what are the internships like? Morgan, could you tell us a bit about your experiences with your different internships during the program?
Sure. So in my opinion, the internship is the best part of the program. It's your first real taste of what it's like to be in the classroom. And for me, that was really exciting. The field services office is really, really accommodating as well with where you want to go for your internship. As an intermediate secondary student, I had one internship. So it was the 4 months of the winter semester, which was really 3 for me because of COVID. But it was a really positive experience regardless. We get to submit our 3 picks for schools, and they were as accommodating as they could be for where you getting to go to your top choice. And then as well, if you go there for your short one, you go there for your observation days. If you have made a connection with a teacher and you really like the school, the field services office allowed us to request to go back to that school, and even with a specific teacher who we might have made a connection with, if there was something specific we had in mind, and they try and be as accommodating as they can for that. And so that's a really positive experience for students because it allows you to build a connection and a relationship, not only with that teacher who you're working with, but with the students in their classes as well. So for me, I did go back to do my long internship where I had done my observation days, which is where you just sit and you observe a little bit about what it is a teacher does and the responsibilities, how you respond to a classroom. So I walked into my long internship having already met these kids a little bit during my observation days. So it made that transition just a little easier. And then, of course, if you were looking for a change from where you did your observation to where you're going to do your long internship, there's the opportunity for that as well. So the field service office really does make it a positive experience for students to go on their internships. And it's a very, very supportive process. No one is there looking to tear you down or see you do poorly. Everyone is really looking for you to succeed and find out if you're going to love the career.
Great. Next question is from a student who wants to get into the intermediate secondary program. They're wondering if they can have any degree and get into that program. Roxanne, would you be able to weigh in on that one?
Sure. Okay, so the intermediate secondary has a couple of different requirements. The first requirement is that they are awarded a degree from a recognized institution. So as long as the degree is from a recognized institution, that requirement is met. Now, also, they're required to have 2 teachable areas. So they're required to have 12 courses in one teachable area, 8 courses in another. So it really depends on the type of degree you have if you meet that requirement. Let's just say if you have a degree in psychology, psychology is not a teachable subject area. But if you have 12 courses completed in one of the teachable areas we have listed on our website and 8 courses in another teachable area, then you would be fine. You would meet the criteria with a psychology degree. You'd also need to have a minimum of 65% average in each of your teachable areas. So it's possible, like most students will complete their degree following the teachable areas, but sometimes teaching is an afterthought. And they have a degree in business or psychology, and so in those cases sometimes you have to build on that degree in terms of meeting admission requirements if you don't fit within the courses you've already completed.
Perfect. And the admission requirements for all of these programs we're chatting about today are going to be on our website at mun.ca/undergrad on the programs page for the Faculty of Education. Just an FYI for folks. Next question is about when a student's going to receive their acceptance letter after applying. Roxanne?
Okay, so admission decisions are usually made for the spring startup programs, which would be the technology program. So that starts in the spring. So admissions for that are usually, decisions are sent out to students via email. And that's usually done around the end of January, first week in February. All other programs usually trickle from the end of February to the 1st of March, first week in March. That's usually when admission decisions are finalized. And they will all be sent, whether you're admitted or not admitted, all decisions will be sent out via email.
Great. And folks, just in case you're joining us halfway through here, we're using the Q&A feature to all panelists within the WebEx platform to submit those questions. So if you have any more, feel free to keep sending those on in. Next question we have is from Morgan. A student's wondering, how did you start making friends in education?
So in the program, you are with a nice few of the same people for lots of your courses. Like you all do class management together, you all do adolescence together. And then there's usually 2 groups of those students, depending on the class size that year. And then you have the people that you're with for your 2 teachable areas. You have to do 2 courses in your 2 teachable areas. So you're together a lot anyways. I understand that's probably a bit more difficult now that everything is online. But you really have to take the time to connect and get to know each other within your courses. You're all there. You already have a similar interest, right? You all already have this interest in education or this interest in math or science or French or English, whatever it is that you're doing. So I find that it's really good to use that to your advantage, to talk about these shared experiences and these shared interests that you know you have to this point to start building that relationship.
Awesome. Alrighty, so our next question is about prerequisites. So if prerequisites will not be completed until after intersession and you're applying to primary elementary, would you still get a conditional acceptance? Roxanne?
Okay, well, that is a possibility, and it really depends on the number of applicants that we receive within that year. So we have approximately 40 seats, and we, our regulations state that we have to look at applicants completing requirements by the end of the winter semester first. So over the past few years, we have looked at applicants completing coursework in the spring, summer, intersession semester. But again, it really depends on the caliber of applicants that apply at that given year. So there's no yes, no answer to that. But like I said, the past few years, we have dipped in to students completing requirements in spring, summer semester. And while you may not get an offer of admission when they first go out in, the end of January or early February, there's a possibility that you could get a letter of admission later on. It could be in June, for example. And we've done that often.
Awesome. Great. Our next question is from a student from Nova Scotia. So they're wondering, if I study at Memorial and decide to go back to Nova Scotia, would I need to do additional courses before teaching?
So right now for primary elementary, no. You normally students, when they go back to Nova Scotia, there's no additional coursework required for that level. Basically, there's a memorandum of understanding across all provinces throughout Canada, where if you complete an education degree from one recognized institution, then your certification is pretty much guaranteed in all provinces. Nova Scotia was a little bit different because they required a certain number of education courses. But for our primary elementary program, you fulfill that requirement. It's the intermediate secondary program. We've had students that, in order to get up on their pay scale, they still get their licensing and their certification, but to go up a higher level on their pay scale in Nova Scotia, if you've completed the high school program here at MUN, you'd have to do, I think it's 3 additional courses.
Okay. Then next we have a question about if you folks have any tips on writing a personal statement.
For myself, what I always include in my own personal statements, like all these people already have your marks and your resume things and all these formal things that you put on like what you would put on a resume or a cover letter. These people already know about you. So I would take your personal statement, if I was you, and how I've written the personal statements in the past that I've had to write, and I would take that time to really showcase your personality. Like, what are your interests? What can you bring to this career field that's going to make you different? What do you like? What kind of clubs could you start up with kids? Why do you want to teach kids? Why are you so passionate about your subject area? Really show what you can bring to the table other than good marks in your university courses. Like, showcase who you are and why you think you are going to be a good teacher.
Great. And Roxanne, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Morgan really hit the nail on the head there. She really did. So, I mean, you really need to sell yourself. You need to, identify why this area is of importance to you, why, what you feel you can contribute as an individual in this particular teaching profession. So yes, it's, touch on things that's not readily available on paper for the faculty to see when they're reviewing your application. Dig deep and, really bring that out there in your personal statement.
Really that moment for students to shine in that.
For sure.
Awesome. And our next question is, how many seats are there available in the primary elementary degree program, Roxanne?
So we have 40 seats for the first degree option, and we have 40 seats for the second degree option.
Great. And students wondering, for a second degree program, does the program, can they transfer to Memorial, or do they have to have their degree completed at MUN? I think you mentioned that a little earlier.
I'm not really sure I'm clear on the question. So are they wondering if they can transfer after they complete their first degree, or?
Yes.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be really a transfer, though. There still would be applying to the faculty, right? So we would accept applicants from any, any university across Canada. If you're finishing off your degree and you want to go into a professional program like education, you are certainly open to apply.
Great. Folks, I notice we're getting to the end of our time here together today. So I just want to give you each the opportunity to share any last tips or tricks or thoughts that you'd like to give our prospective students that are joining with us today. Morgan, would you like to start us off?
Sure. So having done the program and having taught now since September, I can't discourage anyone from joining the faculty. It was a wonderful program. I met wonderful people, and this career is so awesome. Like, it's the most rewarding thing. It's definitely really challenging. You learn more, I think, probably in your first 2 weeks of teaching than you do ever throughout university. So many unknowns come at you all the time. So what I would suggest is that the way that I've kind of described education to people who look to me for advice would be like the education program gives you this toolbox of everything that you need to know and what you should know how to use in your classroom. But it's up to you to take that information and put your own spin on it. How do I do this in my classroom? How do I teach math? How do I make someone understand the scientific process? What is the way that I can best manage difficult situations in the classroom? So MUN and the program will give you all these ideas and all these tools and all these techniques, and the profs are absolutely wonderful for explaining those things. But you have to take it and put your own spin on it, right? Every teacher is different. Everyone has their own personality and their own way of doing things. So I would say to be passionate, be patient in your learning. It's a new thing every day. And really just find your own way to make your teaching and the time you spend with your students meaningful. And take the program seriously, because you really do learn a lot from it. Like I learned so much in classroom management that I use every single day. And when I was learning it, I thought, this is kind of hard to learn without actually doing it. But then you get out there and you start doing it and you realize, I remember learning this. This is useful and this is my own way of doing it. So be passionate, be patient, and realize that it's such a privilege to work in this field.
Great advice, Morgan. And Roxanne?
I just want to say, education is a wonderful field to go into. It's very rewarding. There's so many opportunities. We have graduates that, decided that teaching in the typical sense was not what they wanted to do. So there's so many career opportunities. You can go into curriculum development, advising. It's just a broad sense. So, keep that in mind. It's not just specific to, the typical teaching profession. Also, I want to add that we have a wonderful student services resource in our faculty. And if you have any questions at all regarding admission, or even once you're in the program, please don't hesitate to reach out to ask those questions. I mean, it could be the littlest of questions that could really play a big factor in admission that you didn't get answered. So always reach out and ask. If you're not sure, don't rely on, maybe you have a parent who graduated many, many years ago. You could have a friend who may be sharing pieces of information, but always go to the source to make sure that that information is accurate, because things change and they change rather quickly. So where you're getting the pieces of information from may not always be up to date. So please always reach out to us and ask those questions. So I hope to see a lot of applicants applying this year.
All great points, Roxanne, especially about the degree pointing you in a number of different ways. I have a master's in education, and certainly it's brought me to being here in student recruitment, which is definitely exciting and not typical pathway probably for education students. So it can bring you in a lot of different ways. Thanks so much for joining us today, everyone. If you have any other questions at all, feel free to email us at admissions@mun.ca. If you'd like to stay connected with us, you can certainly fill out our request for information form on the front page of our website, mun.ca/undergrad. And be sure to also check out all of the recordings of these sessions that are available on the events page at mun.ca/undergrad as well. So all throughout the semester, we've been doing these with different faculties, and all those recordings are available there. Thanks to our panelists for sharing all the great information you did today with our students. And folks, that's all I have for now. Take good care.